trying lots of little things in the sauce. And cheap tasted it.
I've already cast the whole movie, but there's this part right here. Do you want to play it? And I went, yep.
There's lots of processes. I wouldn't bore you with that.
I just didn't crash.
I built this for nothing. This is our family. You and me, kid.
I understand you had kind of been captivated by Danny Lyon's book for about 20 years before making the film. So I was curious how many iterations the kind of film in your head went through before making the film that we end up seeing.
I mean, it's a good question. I found the book in 2003 and I didn't sit down and really start writing the script till 2019. So that's 16 years of carrying this thing around. It actually felt like a bit like a party trick. You know, I could go up to someone and say, hey, do you want to hear my 60s biker film idea? But the substance wasn't really there yet. The work wasn't really there. It wasn't until I sat down and said, okay, how much of this thing do I fictionalize? How much do I keep? What am I really trying to do with this film? Which ultimately came down to, I want to get the human beings that Danny captured. I want to get whatever their essence is. I want to try to get that out on the page. And it took a while, to say the least.
And Tom, for you, bringing a character to life where you've got this, incredible inspiration in terms of these still images, what is the kind of research process of then making that a 3D character? Obviously, you've got the script, but what other resources are there to really bring the character to life?
Asking lots and lots of questions and trying on. There's convincing and not convincing, and trying to find something that's convincing, which is also a reach from me, so my own personal silhouette in the world. How can I act and pretend to be somebody that I'm not, that sits in a world that can be both earthed in reality principle, but is also not tied so hard to a reality principle that it gets in the way of narrative fantasy and symbolism, because it's a story ultimately, and it's not real, but it contains truths. I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
there's lots of processes. I wouldn't bore you with that.
Was there anything in particular from the research that you were especially interested in bringing to Johnny, bringing to the character?
That's what I'm saying. I ask questions, and then I sit, and then from those answers, or perhaps conversations that are ongoing, start to look at things that I can identify a little bit of that, or a little bit of this, as I put together a collage of working facade, an illusion that is coherent on a day-to-day basis, which I add to or strip away whilst I pretend.
Yeah.
I don't really know how else to put it, so trying lots of little things in the sauce. And cheap tasted it, and then if it doesn't work, it's not for the want of trying.
I'm really interested about the story of how you became involved, because I think I read that you already knew about these photographs that inspired the film and in fact had prints of them. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have quite a few of Danny's photographs at my house. I collect photography. I do photography shows myself. I have some books out. But everybody that's into photography knows who Danny is. And so when I met Jeff, I sat next to him in Cannes, and he said, hey, I'm doing a movie, a Danny Lyon book called Bikeriders. And I said, it's based on the photography book? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, you know it? And I go, oh, yeah. And even that photograph that they remade of Austin, from the movie going over the bridge, I have that photograph in my office. So Danny mentioned he's doing a film. I was filming in Paris. I was doing the Daryl Dixon, the TV spinoff of The Walking Dead. And so I bounced from Paris to Ohio.
Yeah. Must have been an amazing experience. And your character as well. I mean, there's a lot of larger than life characters in this film, and Funny Sonny is definitely one of them. How much did you kind of have a say in which character you were going to play? Did Jeff just kind of say?
I had zero say in which character to play. He said, I've already cast the whole movie, but there's this part right here. Do you want to play it? And I went, yep. Yeah. So, and then, you're looking at photos of Funny Sonny, and he's, there's not a lot about him, but you can tell a lot about his personality, I think, through his photos. He looks like kind of a wild man, always up to have fun, So we came up with this idea to have rotted teeth and the whole look of him. And I hadn't met the cast yet, so I sort of showed up that way. Yeah. So I'm like walking around Ohio, going to like Starbucks and Target and all these places with these teeth in my mouth, trying to see if people could understand me, because it takes you a while to get used to talking with a mouth full of plastic teeth, you know. So I didn't want to look like Daryl Dixon in the film, you know what I mean? So we sort of created this character, you know.
So obviously a lot of great actors in this cast as well. I want to specifically ask about Jodie Comer as well, because, you know, her role is so big as the kind of the way into a lot of these other characters as well for the audience. Sure. And I understand that, you know, she had listened to so many of voice recordings and kind of broken it down phonetically and stuff like that. How impressive was it to work with her and see that process and kind of, yeah.
I mean, I'd been listening to this audio since 2014, I think is when I first put my hands on it. And I used to just drive around my hometown listening to this stuff, kind of gaining the confidence to write in these voices. And so she sent me a QuickTime audio file of the work that she was doing on it. And for the first 3 to 5 seconds, I thought it was the real recording. That's how close she was getting to it. But I mean, what's really great about Jodie is, yeah, she puts in all that work, but you don't see it. You know, it kind of all disappears into a character right in front of you, into a performance. It's a bit of a magic trick, to be honest.
Yeah. What was your experience of working with Jodie and with Austin Butler as well? What did you kind of have? Were there particularly scenes that you enjoyed filming with those two?
And anybody who has like a great talent and is awake and open and can play and is generous and has a clear pursuit of a goal orientation within work is also a part of it. Can play tennis with you, I suppose, with the words that have been written, is a joy. And you can tell if somebody has that, whether they work hard at it or not, whether they have a process or otherwise. It's irrelevant. They're both of those actors, and Michael and others in that, everybody we work with actually has that capacity, and it's a very specific quality, so it's a joy.
Yeah, I understand Danny Lyne came to set as well. What was that like having him on set, and were you kind of nervous about showing him the film, or how did that kind of...
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Yeah. You know, Danny has been extremely generous with me, but he's a 60s radical, you know, he's a contrarian. So from the beginning I was like, you're going to hate this. This is going to be terrible. Just so I could hear him say, no, I'm not. But he was so generous with everything he gave to us. You know, but the night that he visited set, you know, it was kind of cool to see him walk into our set and feel like it got his stamp of approval, you know, which he gave. Yeah. Which he gave. And it meant a lot. When I showed him the film finally, he really loved it. He just thought his character should have been dirtier.
As a kind of motorbike enthusiast yourself, did you kind of bring some of that knowledge and expertise to the film as well? Were you kind of chatting with the other guys on set about motorbikes and about this world?
I just didn't crash. I rode this old panhead that had a suicide shift, and it was really hard to ride because there was a rubber ducky on top of a rubber ducky in bronze on top of the suicide shift, and I wasn't allowed to hold it. So I had to change gears with my 2 little fingers underneath the duck and try to thread the gears. Not only that, I had to come down a hill after it just rained with 200 extras on a field. And then the glasses that I'm wearing, right before the AD told me to come down, I borrowed them off the makeup artist. And then I'm waiting and I go, wait, are these prescription? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, uh-oh. And I just kind of went in blind. I don't think anybody knew that. I kind of just kept that to myself.
Yeah, I just wanted to very quickly touch on, you mentioned Walking Dead spin-off, Daryl Dixon, which comes back for season 2. And I know, you know, it's been announced that Carol's going to play quite a big part this time around. What can you kind of about what fans can look forward to in the second season?
That show's great. When they offered us the show in France, we wanted a whole new writing team, new showrunners, and they allowed us to rebuild it. So it feels a lot like The Walking Dead in the first couple of seasons. It has a real sort of independent, artistic look to it and feel to it. The show's half of it's in French, which is a whole new thing. We shoot in castles and Mont Saint Michel and all these places. Carol's already shot Melissa's already shot season 2. So season 2, I think, comes out, God, I want to say around August. Don't quote me. Season 2 is phenomenal. Season 1 was fun. Season 2 is mind blowing. The the finale of season 2, the last episode, is the best. I say the best 1 hour of Walking Dead television ever, like ever, and in everything. I've said it in press before, and we're about to start seasons 3 and possibly 4 in Spain. I think I'm allowed to say that. I don't know. I just said it, but I think we're going. I think we're going to Spain, to Madrid for that. So we start that in, I want to say, mid-August.